Greetings, listeners. Tonight's episode of the Voice of Indie podcast is an encore presentation. The phone lines are closed. Hosts Stephen G's and Beem Weeks wish each of you a very Merry Christmas.
Blog Talk Radio.
It's time for Voice of Indie. Your hosts today are Beem Weeks, author, producer, and marketing monster for independent multimedia publisher Fresh Ink Group, and Stephen G's, author, producer, composer, and publisher for Fresh Ink Group.
And greetings to one and all. Happy Hump Day. It is time for another episode of the Voice of Indie podcast. This is episode number 197, inching ever so closely to number 200, and then the big celebration. I am your host, Beem Weeks, and with me is Mr. Stephen G's. How are you doing tonight, Stephen?
I'm doing fine, but apparently I don't have my invitation for the big celebration yet, so I'm going to have to get out there and check the mailbox again.
Yeah. Well, I figured we might do something. I don't know.
Yeah, no telling.
Wheel a cake into the studio. I don't know.
It's been weird down here in Alabama the last couple of days. I know you've started working on the latest audio book for Robert G. Williscroft for the Third Ort Chronicle, which has lots of space sound effects in it. Well, right now, all you got to do is open a window or open a door and stick your head out, and it sounds like lost in space out there. There's a million, just sounds like that overlapping. What it is we're having another cicada hatch. And when the cicadas come out and they fill the forests all around me, they make some weird sounds. So get your microphone down here. I think we've got some effects for the new audio book by Robert G. Williscroft.
All right. Yeah, I just started it too. So get your mic out there, record it, and send me some of those. I might need a spaceship sound.
Yeah. So we've got a new book that just came out about a week or so ago. It's called The Nurses. The Nurses by Anna Morgan, and it's book one in Nurses of the Krieg, which is a World War II Nazi Germany thriller focusing on two teenage girls who just want to grow up and help people. It's a very, very cool book. It's the first in the series, too. So check out The Nurses by Anna Morgan. She's a Brit living over there in Britland, and she's done a real good job researching this, making this very authentic historical fiction set in Nazi Germany, The Nurses.
Yeah, and another recently released book, A Beggar's Bargain by Jan Sykes, is out, is available, and is winning awards. So get out there, and if you saw the newsletter this morning, you will see that Jan picked up another award. She's on a roll. This is hopefully is going to be one of her biggest selling books. Also, about the newsletter, it's stated this morning's newsletter stated that next week's guest is Cheryl Carpinello. That is not accurate. Cheryl is actually set for the first Wednesday of next month. Next week is V.A. Johnson, so be sure to tune in for that one. Barbara Johnson has been on the show a time or two, and she's always a fun interview, so tune in for that. And if you would like to be part of tonight's episode, you got a question or a comment, there are a couple of ways you can be part of that episode, and here are those ways to do so.
Call 516-453-9902 right now with your questions or comments for tonight's guest. Or post a note on Twitter with hashtag Fresh Ink Group in the body of the tweet, and we'll read it on air. That's 516-453-9902 or hashtag Fresh Ink Group on Twitter.
All right, we got another new book that's out, A Light in the Darkness. This is by Tina Reist. This is a book of poems, reflections, meditations, and a lot of expressions of gratitude to people who've played important roles in her life. Tina Reist is a remarkable young woman. Light in Darkness is her first effort, and it is out there performing very well right now. So congratulations, Tina. A Light in the Darkness.
Woohoo! Yeah, yeah. She's over the moon for having this book out now, and it's something she accomplished, and she's very grateful those that have purchased it so far. So, if you have, leave a review. Ran, A Civilization in Hiding, the Third Orc Chronicle, and Keyed, A Lost Civilization, the Fourth Orc Chronicle, both by Robert G. Williscroft. Those are out now, available at Amazon or wherever you buy your books. And as Stephen mentioned earlier, I'm working on the latest audiobook for Ran. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. We'll cruise through that and get that up just as soon as possible. And if you want to know more about what we're doing here at Fresh Ink Group, what our authors are doing, who's going to be a guest on this show, all those fun little factoids, we've got a newsletter. It covers everything Fresh Ink Group, and it covers a lot of non-Fresh Ink Group stuff, but pertinent to the indie publishing world with indie authors and whatnot. So if you haven't subscribed to this newsletter, here's how you can do that and remedy the situation.
Stay on top of these podcasts and all things Fresh Ink Group with our weekly digital newsletter. New releases, videos, stories, excerpts, interviews, and more. Sign up now on the homepage of FreshInkGroup.com and be the one who knows what's what.
What? Here's what. The Star Child Compact Saga, Book 3, is out now by Robert G. Williscroft. That guy writes. He's prolific. He's got a lot of really cool stuff out there and some different stuff. He's got some space travel, some submarine travel. Got all kinds of cool stuff. Star Child Compact. Star Child Compact Saga, Book 3.
Well, it's the Star Child Saga, and Star Child Compact is Book 3.
Yeah,
and that's the one that's just come out after the Daedalus Files, which is Book 2, and after Slingshot, which is Book 1. So we're getting ready to put out Book 4 here, the Iapetus Federation, pretty soon. So let's take a quick look and see what's happening over in the print book sales for the past week. We've had a couple of books dance their way onto the list and have some fun. We got Celebrate 98, The Untold Stories Behind the Tennessee Football Vols' 1998 National Championship by Dave Hooker of Off the Hook Sports, and that's the hardcover edition that's selling. We've also got the hardcover edition of As We Remember, A History of the Women's Relief Corps in Beaufort, South Carolina, and that's by Dr. Najma Thomas at South Carolina State University. All right, we got Andrew McGregor's book, How to Paint an American. That's a cool novel about an immigrant who's discovered some very interesting things about this country. And then we got a food truck book, A.K. Wingler's How to Start and Run Your Own Food Truck Business in Florida. All right, above that, what's that book by Jerry Pate, Beem?
That would be Submariner.
Yeah, 30 Years of Hijinks and Keeping the Fleet Afloat, 60-chapter memoir about life as a submariner. And that's the hardcover edition that's doing so well there. We've also got Gwen M. Plano's paperback edition of Redemption, A Father's Fatal Decision. That book, when we were doing the royalty reports last month, it was like, whoa, wait a minute, is that a typo? That was surprising me at how well that thing was doing. Above that, we got Robert McKenzie, The Chair, Volume 1, Lightning, Thunder, and Glory. He's got Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4 out there. We're getting ready to put out Volume 5 by the end of the summer. Volume 1's made our list. Now we got Larry Landgraf again, the hardcover edition of The Adventures of Ali Orangutan. That's an illustrated chapter book for kids about an orangutan who's being shipped to a zoo, but he escapes and hijinks ensue. Now that's the hardcover edition. The next best-selling book above it is the paperback edition of the same book. Now, what would a list be, Beam, without The Rise and Fall of a Construction Giant? The history, people, and stories.
What would it be?
The history and stories of CFW Construction. What's that thing about?
That's about a construction company that it traces the history of it, the rise and the fall, as the title says. This is a construction company that became one of the largest in the world. They were located in numerous countries, several states here in the U.S., and then there was some bid rigging scandals. People went to prison, and then most of the executives were killed in a plane crash right there on the lake on which you live. Yeah. And that pretty much signaled the end of the company. But it's a fantastic story and very intriguing. And like when we first put it out, we figured it's probably not going to get a whole lot of attention. But there are people that are intrigued by that kind of stuff, and it's, 6-7 years later, it's still selling?
I'm telling you, it's out there gangbustering away. Next up, we got J. Ash Looney's Who Said That? The stories behind familiar expressions for readers, writers, word lovers, and trivia buffs. Fresh Ink Group explains whence come those phrases that color everyday speech. That's got to win an award for the longest subtitle. J. Ash Looney, Who Said That? And then above that, Dave Hooker's book again about the Tennessee Vols. And it's a paperback edition. And then above that, we've got David Carroll, I Won't Be Your Scapegoat, David Carroll's Homemade Social Media Blunders. Above that, How to Teach Driving by Kenneth Lindquist, Behind the Wheel Lesson by Lesson, and it's the Instructor's Edition. There's a Parent's Edition too, but the Instructor's Edition seems to be outselling it a little bit by a little bit of a margin. Got another How to Start Your Own Food Truck Business, this one in Georgia, by A.K. Wigler. And then we got Dr. Helen Burrell, American Agony, the Opioid War Against Patients.
Yay, Helen.
Yay, Helen. Still Not Enough, Minority Millennials in the Workforce by Dr. Janelle Jordan is next up. And now we're into Robert G. Willis Croft territory. Operation Ivy Bells, A Mac McDowell Mission, the first novel of the 4 Mac McDowell Mission books. He's working on number 5 now. And Beam, this is a hardcover.
Wow.
Hardcover novel out there doing so well. And that's the first book in his Mac McDowell Mission series. The next book on the list here is his first book in the Orc Chronicle series. This one's called Icicle, A Tensor Matrix, the first Orc Chronicle. Guess what? Hardcover. Yeah, hardcover. Wow. These hardcover novels out there just strutting around like they own the whole marketplace. Now, Barbara Johnson, B.A. Johnson, Sassy Discovers the AME Church, paperback edition. It's coming in this week in the number 6 slot. And that's an illustrated chapter book for kids. She's also got a second one in the series. And she's getting ready to put out Pandemonium in Puzzle Town here in the next few weeks. And, boy, this is exciting. She's going to be a guest on a podcast here next week.
Yeah.
All right, we're back to Robert G. Willis Croft again, the paperback edition of Operation Ivy Bells, the first book in the Mac McDowell Mission series. And that brings us to number 4. Number 4, what do you think? Nell Cooper, Princess Lil. Princess Lil. Again, this was on the list last week, too. This is one of the first books we ever published at Fresh Ink Group. Had to be, what, 300 years ago, something like that.
I think it was during the Lincoln administration, at least.
Yeah, this is a chapter book for children aimed primarily at little girls about a pony who has to deal with bullying. And that's by Nell Cooper. I think she's starting to stir up a lot of attention in her writing again because we're getting ready to put out, what's the name of that book?
I can't remember because she had 2 working titles. Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Because she had 2 working titles on it when I was editing. So.
Yep. So Nowhere to Go by Tomorrow by Nell Cooper's coming out real soon, and we're excited about that. That gets us to our top 3, and number 2 and 3 are the same book. At number 2, we got the hardcover edition. At number 3, we got the paperback edition, and this is by some guy who happens to be in the Country Music Hall of Fame. That's Mark Herndon, The High Road, Memories from a Long Trip. Now,
all right,
that gets us to number 1. And number 1, by a 40% margin over the number 2 book, is Tina Reese's A Light in the Darkness, Words and Poems of Encouragement. Congratulations.
All right. Yay, Tina. All right. So we've also got coming out here soon, Mr. President, I've Got Your Back. First Ladies of South Carolina State University. We've also got Journey, that's by Abigail Hugueny and Mary L. Smalls. And we got Journey Through the Lens, which is a creative guide to nature photography. And that is by, what is her name again? Angie Birmingham. That's coming out soon. And that's a really cool book. If you caught the newsletter a couple of weeks ago, you saw the photos that we shared. Man, just exquisite, just incredibly rich and vibrant, and she knows what she's doing when she's doing this nature photography stuff. That's for sure. All right,
yeah.
So
if you like to lurk around Facebook, get over and check out Angie Birmingham on Facebook because she's posting these pictures from Costa Rica almost daily now, putting at least 4 or 5 up there. It's worth checking.
Yeah, and if you missed any previous episodes, or you've got a favorite one you want to check out, or there's you're new to the show and you want to see what the show is all about, we've got every episode in the archive, and here's how you can find our archive.
Find your favorite show in the Voice of Indie archives on YouTube at Fresh Ink Group, StephenG's.com, BeamWeeks.com, FreshInkGroup.com, and on Spotify. And now you can listen on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and tune in. Just search The Voice of Indie, all one word.
Set in medieval Wales during the mystical times of King Arthur, 11-year-old Gavin and his friends are determined to prove their mentor, the Wild Man, innocent of murder. The youngest heir of Pembroke Castle, 11-year-old Gavin longs to prove he is worthy of knighthood, but he fears his own failures, and now he must choose between fleeing and fighting to save his friend. Gavin's coming-of-age story is full of mystery, intrigue, betrayal, and the charms of an eerie witch. Will Gavin earn his knighthood, or will evil challenge his very survival? Read the young adult chapter book, The King's Ransom, Tales and Legends, Young Knights of the Round Table, by Cheryl Carpinello. And now discover the audiobook, narrated by Ethan Drew, with music and sound effects. Produced and published by Fresh Ink Group. Cheryl Carpinello's King's Ransom, Tales and Legends audiobook is available worldwide.
In 1933 Berlin and Munich, 15-year-olds Katerina and Maria, who have never met, share the same dream, to become nurses who care for all regardless of race, creed, or color. They achieve their dreams, but their determination to rise above prejudice brings them into conflict with the authorities and very close to danger of arrest. As a result, they both find themselves sent to the same hospital in France, more for their own safety, where they meet unexpectedly and become firm friends. They look so similar to each other that people often mistake them, which leads them to play tricks on the people they meet. The nurses find themselves on the Mediterranean Sea bound for North Africa. Misfortune strikes when their ship, the Queen of the Sea, strikes a mine and begins to sink. Alone and adrift in a life raft, Katerina and Maria want to help others live, but that will never happen unless they find a way to survive. Read The Nurses, Nurses of the Creed, Book 1 by Anna Morgan. Proudly published worldwide in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats by Fresh Ink Group. The Nurses by Anna Morgan. Oh, very cool. That's my first time hearing both of those. Even though I narrated the second one, I hadn't heard the mix yet. That was Ethan Drew narrating the commercial too, and giving himself credit for the Young Knights audiobook. That's going to be a very fun audiobook. You got some cool sound effects in there?
We do. We got cool sound effects. We've got some cool music and whatnot, and it was a really cool read. Ethan is a professional. He's an actor first and foremost, and he does a lot of voiceover work. I believe he does some of the animation stuff, so he knew what he was doing. So check that out.
All right. Well, let's meet this week's guest. We've been real excited about having Mike Deodato. Fan favorite Brazilian artist, Mike Deodato's style ranges from high-energy drawings to a noir photorealism. Deodato's lifelong love for comics comes from his late father, a comics artist himself who guided his son's artistic growth. In the 90s, Deodato took the U.S. market by assault, switching his original realist style to a more dynamic one, influenced by early Image comics, and made his name with a popular run on DC Comics, Wonder Woman, and a whole bunch of other stuff too. But then soon, Deodato became one of the most prolific and in-demand artists of that decade, with credits that include Marvel's Avengers, Elektra, The Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, and Thor. Eventually, he reduced his workload and reinvented his art once again, creating a darker, more detailed style, experimenting with it in a Nightcrawler story showcased in X-Men Unlimited. Deodato then managed to draw one of his favorite series to date, The Incredible Hulk, written by Bruce Jones. He has credits including Witches, New Avengers, Amazing Spider-Man, Thunderbolts, Infinity Wars, Savage Avengers, and Marvel Comics number 1000. In 2019, after 24 years as a Marvel exclusive artist, Mike left the company to pursue a creator-owned career. His recent projects include Berserker Unbound, The Resistance, Bad Mother, and Redemption. He won an Eisner and a Ringo for his creator-owned book, Not All Robots. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now how about we get started here? We know that you're in Brazil. How are you born and raised in Brazil? Have you lived anywhere else? And exactly, what part of Brazil are you living in?
I'm living in the northeast part, very hot with beautiful beaches. Never lived elsewhere. Always in Brazil. And I thought about it, but family is here, so I decided to stay. But I'm always traveling abroad to conventions and stuff.
Is it kind of a rural area where you are? Are you kind of like in a city, town? What's it like there?
It's João Pessoa, is the capital of Paraíba. It's a small town, even though it's the capital. But I like this way because it's calm and, I need peace to draw. That's okay.
Yeah. And the native language there would be Portuguese?
Yeah. Sorry for my English.
Oh, no.
No. You sound good.
Thank you.
Yes. Remember, we're publishers. We get things in the mail from people who think they know English.
Okay. That's
So we know that your father got you involved in the comic books. Was this when you were a child? And did you read other things other than comic books? Did you write other stuff other than comic books?
No. I read a lot of books, of course. I still read. I like guys like Saramago, the Portuguese Nobel Prize one, Jorge Luis Borges, and a lot of crime writers, American crime writers. Mostly they are comic book writers too. But my father had a big influence on me doing comics. He created the first comic book in my region in 1963. So
wow.
By coincidence, the same year I was born. So I grew up. It was based on a radio soap opera that he wrote too. So he dressed up. He was the actor of the soap opera. He dressed up as the hero to take pictures to give away to the fans. So I grew up with a real superhero. So, so different from other parents, he actually supported my decision to do comic books. So I grew up with a great environment, a teacher at home. He introduced me to the masters. He explained to me why they were important, Hal Foster, Alex Raymond, and so forth. Things that I would not notice because I was young and fool. But he explained, you see, Will Eisner, see this panel, see what's happening here. There is something happening in the foreground, in the middle ground. There is another thing happening in the far background. Another thing happening. See the angles he chooses to place the camera. See how he marks the time from one panel for another using tools like a dripping sink to mark the time. So a lot of things that would pass unnoticed by a young artist like me, I had the lucky to have my father pointing out to me. So it was a great teacher for me.
That sounds like it. Did he have another job, anything else that he did, or did he find a way to earn a living doing this kind of stuff way back then? You said the 1950s, right?
Yeah, 60s, 50s. He was actually a journalist, so he directed a lot of radios and newspapers, but his dream was to draw comics, and he didn't have the chance like me because it were other times. Even today, it's hard to live from comics in Brazil, and but he fulfilled his dream through me. For 10 years, we worked together doing comics in Brazil. He writing and me drawing, and that was another lesson because instead of typing in a paper the story, he would do small thumbnails of the story with the panels, with the placing the balloons. So I would see the angles and everything was there. So just me by copying these little thumbnails, passing for a big page, I was having a lesson on storytelling. So when I finally got my way into American market in 1991, I had already done everything in Brazil, every kind of genre in comics, and I had this incredible masterclass with my father for all those years. So I came up already ready at the American market.
Now you're nearly 61, correct?
Yeah, I'm old. Yeah, I'm old.
No, that's not old. Now, you learned a lot from your father. Do you have children that are into comic books, and have you had an opportunity to pass this on to them?
I tried. I have one that is 34, but she's a production engineer. So she prefers to get to to earn money instead of doing comics. And I have a little one, 9 years old. Maybe I can bring her to the dark side. I don't know. I'm trying.
The dark side.
So many people tell their kids, "Get your head out of the clouds." You want yours to put them in the clouds.
Yeah. She's very creative. She already wrote a book.
Wow.
Of course, it's a kid book. Yeah. And we printed it, and we did a signing session for her friends. So I think
fantastic.
She's in the right way.
Oh, cool. All right, people. We're talking to Mike Deodato. He's live from Brazil right now. He's got a tremendous history of drawing major DC comics, from Wonder Woman to The Amazing Spider-Man, and now has his own company doing his own projects. So call in, 516-453-9902. Make a comment, ask a question. We're going to play a couple of ads, and we'll be back with Mike Deodato.
What drives a man to spend 26 years performing night after night? To persevere through a stifling tour bus, bad food, strange women, flared tempers, a plane nearly blown from the sky. Just how did that troubled military brat with a dream claw his way from dirt floor dive bar shows to the world's biggest stages? Aviator, author, and country music Hall of Fame drummer Mark Herndon lived that dream playing with Alabama, one of the most popular and celebrated bands of all time. He learned some hard lessons about people and life, the music industry, the accolades and awards, how easy it is to lose it all, and how hard it is to survive, to embrace sobriety, to live even one more day. Herndon's poignant memoir offers a tale at once cautionary and inspirational, delightful and heartbreaking, funny yet deeply personal. From innocence to rebellion to acceptance, can a man still flourish when the spotlight dims? Are true forgiveness,
redemption, and serenity even possible when the powerful say everything you achieved somehow doesn't even count? That you're not who you and everyone who matters thought you were? Find all this and more in Mark's remarkable memoir, The High Road, Memories from a Long Trip, proudly published by Fresh Ink Group in paperback and ebooks, and now in the keepsake dust-jacketed hardcover edition demanded by true fans. Mark Herndon refuses to slow down, so look back, look ahead, and join him on the trip. He's taking the high road.
A shocking proposal that changes everything. Desperate to honor his father's dying wish, Laken Martin vows to do whatever it takes to save the family farm. Once the Army discharges him following World War II, Laken returns to Missouri to find his legacy in shambles and in jeopardy. A foreclosure notice from the bank doubles the threat. He appeals to the local banker for more time, a chance to rebuild, plant, and harvest crops, and time to heal far away from the noise of bombs and gunfire. But the banker firmly denies his request. Now what? Then the banker makes an alternative proposition. Marry his unwanted daughter, Sarah Beth, in exchange for a 2-year extension. Out of options, money, and time, Laken agrees to the bargain. Now he has 2 years to make a living off the land while he shares his life with a stranger. Read A Beggar's Bargain, Book 1 in the Bargainer series by best-selling author Jan Sykes. Available worldwide from multimedia publisher Fresh Ink Group in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. A Beggar's Bargain by Jan Sykes.
All right, that's an award winner there. Now, over on Twitter, we do have a tweet from Verwayne Greenhoe. He says, "Happy Wednesday evening, everyone. It was a warm but lovely afternoon here in northern Florida. Lisa and I spent most of the day sitting under the trees talking about stuff, waiting for the show to get rolling." Lisa says, "Hi, welcome aboard,
Hi, Lisa.
Verwayne and Lisa. We are glad to have you in the audience tonight." So, Mike, we know that you like to draw the comic books and whatnot. When you're not drawing comic books, how do you like to spend your time? Do you have hobbies, interests? You live down there by the beach. You like to go swimming, surfing?
Yeah, I like the beach, but I never go to the beach. But I like to go to the gym to do lift weights. I do karate. I'm a black belt, 2nd degree. I like watching TV series. I'm crazy about TV series. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I don't consider my job a job. So when I'm actually happy is when I'm drawing. That's when I feel comfortable. I once tried to take a vacation. It was 2006, my only vacation. And after 15 days, I had to start drawing because I couldn't stand it. So that's when I understood that it's not I'm a workaholic. It's just something I love to do.
You've got something you enjoy.
Yeah, I really love to draw.
So, Mike, what is your process like? Like, if you get ready to start a new project, say, do you start out like with outlining or just working from the seat of your pants? Do you start with rough sketches? Do you start with the story ideas first? Do you do it all together? What's your process? What's it look like when you dive into a project?
Yeah, it depends on if it's something that I'm writing and drawing, and it's very chaotic. I have no process because it's not something I do normally. Usually I got the script and I draw. So for me to write, so it depends on the story. Sometimes I do I do all the drawings, and then I decided what to write in the panels, in the balloons. Sometimes I write it all down, and then I do the drawings. But it's very chaotic, and it's to myself. I don't write a complete script. It just I write in any paper just for myself. I still have to get used to it. But normally, I got a script that my editor, when it's creator owned, he sent me 3 or 4 stories for me to choose. So I read them all. What I like one, I choose, and then I start. When I read, I first read at once the script to feel the story, and then I read again, and I do small thumbnails in the pages for myself, placing the what's the more important scene, how many panels, what panel should give more importance, stuff like that. And then I do the layouts. It's quick sketches, already with the all the panels, all the angles, all the balloons positioned, all the lighting. I choose also because I use a lot of shadows and lighting. And there is where is the energy of the story, because I do it quickly with no reference, so all the energy is there. And then from there, I get the reference I need for it. So usually I take pictures of myself or whoever is close to me. If my wife is close, I hold the camera and then I do the poses.
Oh.
And sometimes I use her as reference. Sometimes I go to the Google and I get all the references I want. And I put all together on Photoshop together with my drawings. But the secret is, because I use photo references, to not be stale and static and lifeless. It is to try to capture the energy of my layouts, that first layout, the quick one.
Yeah.
And then I try to use the reference to get the closest possible of the layouts. And that's why my drawings are not, even though they are very realistic, very photo reference, they are not stale, they are actually very dynamic. So yeah, that's what I do.
So are we talking about ink on paper, or is this digital drawing? Are you using markers? I mean, how physically are you actually creating these?
Yeah, I stopped doing physical stuff in 2009. My plan was to do only half of the book on digital and half on paper, because selling the original art for collectors is another source of income for our artists. So I decided to do this way, but I like it so much drawing digitally that nowadays I do all digital. It is faster. I draw 3 times faster, and this way I have the chance to see my family, because it's the deadlines are very hard on comics.
Ooh.
And you don't get much money, so you have to produce a lot. And this way I can have a life. I can watch series. I can go to the gym. These are things that I need to stay creative. I need to have a life, so I can create these things. Because if I only work, and then I will end up with no inspiration. It took me time to understand that, actually. In the 90s, I was working so much that my career almost ended. And I had to reinvent myself. and I decided to work less and with better quality, and that's what I follow nowadays. So
now,
yeah, I do all digital nowadays.
Yeah, you need to re-energize from time to time. Now, when you are working and you're putting this together, do you have people who assist you? Are there others involved, or is this just you sitting in a studio somewhere and creating?
Yeah, I used to have assistants in the past, but because I work at home, it's harder to have a strange walking around inside my home. So from many years I work alone. Digital help a lot because it's easier this way. Yeah, I really don't like so much people around me. So.
Now, do you, when you get these projects finished, do you have beta readers, people who look at it and read it and give you their thoughts on it, criticisms, or anything like that? I know as authors, we sometimes have beta readers.
What's the word beta readers?
It's somebody who reads your work before you release it and lets you know whether it's good or maybe you should change this or that didn't make sense.
Well, I have my editors of each book, so but I have people that I trust. I like to talk to my wife about my ideas. There is some few people I really trust in the business that they are not only my friends but people that I respect and I know they are gonna give me a true opinion. But usually we have editors. Yeah, we have editors. Even when I'm doing creator owned, I work with editors, and I usually work with a writer that's called the co-author, and we talk about it, what we are doing. And also there is other people that work in a book. There is the colorist, the letterer, the inker, the penciler. I do the pencils and inks because if I could, I would do everything, but there is no time to do everything. And but there is other people involved. It's not as much people as a movie production or a series, but it's enough. 5 or 6 people at least working on a monthly commitment.
All right. We are talking with Mike Deodato, and we're going to take a break for a couple of commercials, and when we come back, we will start talking about some of his works.
Sarah Jameson, a nurse at County Central Hospital, survives an accident that kills her 2 young children. While comatose, she travels into the heavenly realm where she visits with her precious little ones. She is given a choice: return to her husband, Jack, or remain with her children in their celestial home. Jack was not in the fated automobile. Though he heard the crash and ran to help, there was nothing he could do. He suffers the loss of his children, fears the potential demise of his wife, and wonders about his own sanity. His struggle with PTSD from his military years has returned, and at times he cannot distinguish between the present and the past. An accident tragically changed the lives of this young family, but out of sorrow emerges unexpected blessings. You'll be deeply moved by Gwen M. Plano's new novel, The Soul Whisperer's Decision, proudly published by Fresh Ink Group in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. The Soul Whisperer's Decision by Gwen M. Plano.
Now, from Fresh Ink Group and best-selling author Robert G. Williscroft, the Mac McDowell Mission Series. With a security clearance above top secret, Saturation Dive Team Officer in Charge Mac McDowell leads his team into critical Cold War counter-Soviet missions. Watch Mac prove what brave men can achieve under real pressure, the kind that will steal your air and crush the life out of you. In Operation Ivy Bells, it's the summer of 1972 when Mac and his off-the-books Deepwater Espionage Group are conducting a daring undersea wiretapping operation to gather Russian intel and avert World War. Join nuclear submariner Mac McDowell for extreme diving, a battle with giant squid, and more as he risks everything in the most dangerous operation yet. In Operation Icebreaker, Mac McDowell is leading his submarine team for a mission to lay SOSUS arrays under the Arctic ice when they clash with a highly automated Alpha-class Soviet submarine. Overwhelmed by mechanical problems, the Soviet crew abandons their sub near Point Barrow, Alaska. The skipper launches DSR-V1 Mystic so Mac and his crew can board the empty sub and gather intelligence. The arrival of an even more advanced Soviet sub leads to breathtaking underwater clashes, with the specter of war looming. Will Mac and his crew be sunk by the Soviets, or will they safely return to Alaska, where Mac's new love, Kate, anxiously waits? In Operation Arctic Sting, Mac McDowell and his team capture the abandoned Soviet sub. Piloting their prize through the ice pack to the U.S. East Coast, they must evade or confront other Soviet subs trying to recover the ship or sink it. Breathtaking deep-sea clashes erupt, including hand-to-hand combat with Soviet Morskoy Spetsnaz divers under the ice. Too far from Toothus to escape, the Americans are accosted by a 5-ton orca. Will Mac's ship survive long enough to reach friendly waters, or will the men become just another meal for a deadly whale? In Operation Whiteout, Mac McDowell's Toothus tangles with Argentine subs in the South Atlantic, then confronts a Chi-Com sub off Thurston Island. Escorting a Taiwanese sub, Toothus is attacked by a Chinese Han-class sub and a North Korean AIP sub. Will Mac complete his mission, or will he meet his watery grave on the Pacific's abyssal plain? The McDowell Mission series by Robert G. Willis-Croft is available worldwide in jacketed hardcovers, paperbacks, ebooks from Kindle to Nook and Kobo and more, plus exclusive audiobook editions with music and sound effect. The Mac McDowell Mission series is proudly published by Fresh Ink Group. Take a breath and dive in for thrilling submarine adventures in every Mac McDowell mission.
All right.
Those Mac McDowell missions. That narrator that you just heard in that commercial is Trenton Bennett. He narrates all the audiobooks for Robert G. Willis-Croft books. Not only this submarine thriller, Cold War submarine thriller series, but his science fiction books and other books as well. You should check those out. And if you're interested in learning more about working with audiobooks and professional narrators like Trenton Bennett, he was a guest on this show. So go to the archives and look for episode 44. Which aired June 2nd, 2021. And Trenton gives you all kinds of pointers about how to get into audiobook production.
Yeah. Listen, and callers, you still have time to call in, 516-453-9902. So give us a call. Join the show. All right. So, Mike, we're going to touch a little bit on your work. We'll touch lightly on...
I love this advertising for books of yours. It's, you really want to read the book after hearing it.
Oh,
very good.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
So, just touching lightly on some of your earlier works before we get to what you're currently working on, like the Marvel Avengers and Elektra. How did you get involved with working for Marvel?
Yeah, I started in the American market with very small publishers that don't even exist anymore, like Malibu Comics and Continuity Comics, very small ones, until I heard that a friend of mine, Marcelo Campos, was doing something for DC, Extreme Justice. And then I asked my agents, I have to do it. And then they said there was the Wonder Woman book at DC needed an artist, so I did samples. They immediately hired me. And then I spent 1 year doing Wonder Woman. And it was a hit. It was a hit.
Yeah.
The sales quadrupled, and after that, Marvel and a new publisher called Valiant started fighting for my contract. So I decided to go with Marvel, of course, because it's Marvel. And then that's when I started doing Avengers, Thor, and for 24 years.
Now, some of those early ones, like Spider-Man or Wonder Woman, were you involved in developing the story arcs as well, or were they giving you stories and you were just creating the art?
No, just creating the art. I only did the stories when I published in Brazil.
Okay. Well, that leads us to your current work. And now this is with your own company. Do you have a brand that you're putting things out under now? How do we identify your new company work?
Yeah, actually, not my company. I have stocks of the company, but not mine. It's a company called AWA Studios. They treat their motto is to treat the author better than everyone else. So they give all the rights and everything. If one of our comics become a movie, instead of like the Marvel ones where I just have my name on the screen for a second of time in the and that's it. I don't have any money, just the name. In this company, the rights of the movie are ours. So
nice.
More fair, way more fair. And it was an incredible change. I love superheroes. I like to do superheroes, but after 24 years, I thought I had done enough. So I wanted to do something else, something different. So I started doing things like Bad Mother. Bad Mother is a normal mother, soccer mother, a little out of weight. She's old. Nobody pays attention to her. And then her daughter is kidnapped, and she has to find her without help of police because they are corrupt. The husband is traveling. So she has to go after to save her daughter, with no martial arts ability, no powers, not everything. So, and yet, one of the fighting scenes, it's 8 pages long. It's one of the best I did in my whole career, and I have drawn all kind of fights with superpowers and bullets and everything. So it was quite a change, but for the better. I have done a lot of different kind of books, crime stuff, science fiction, and they are all great. They're all great. I spent my whole life drawing perfect people, like gods, and a superhero, perfect body, perfect. Everybody was perfect. And then I'm drawing normal people, old people, all races, all kind of genres, everything, and it's great. Great authors, and I'm so happy. And the result has been fantastic because I got an Eisner. Never got one while doing superheroes. With Not All Robots, written by Marco Russo. It's fantastic. One of the best scripts I have ever received. It's about the robots taking the jobs of everybody, like what's happening right now with artificial intelligence. And it's full of satire and critique, and it's amazing. Great book. And we got an Eisner, and it's one because the editor. It's Axel Alonso, the editor of and one of the owners of the company. I worked with him at Marvel for a long time, so he became a friend. And as soon as he left Marvel, he invited me to join his company. And he's a guy that I trust. He's one of my biggest fans. He knows what I like to do. So when he sent me a script, he knows something I could do great. So it's been fantastic. Best of times.
Well, for those of us who don't know, what is an Eisner? You won an Eisner for Not All Robots. You're saying rowboats. We tend to pronounce it robots.
Okay, thank you.
What's an Eisner?
Eisner is like the Oscar of comics. It's equivalent of the Oscar for movies. It's the most prestigious award in the business.
Oh, cool. So now, are all of these what we think of as traditional comic books, like 32, 42 pages, something like that, in a very soft format? Or do you also do like graphic novels or serialized versions where you have more than one episode collected together?
Yeah, all of them is like a standard in the industry. After 5, 6, or 7 issues, they are collected into a graphic novel. But right now, I'm working on 2 graphic novels that are made to be graphic novels for this company. I cannot reveal, unfortunately, but next month they are going to announce it. I did with Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire is the author of a lot of great comic books, including this series at Netflix, Sweet Tooth. Is the author.
Oh.
We did Berserker and Bound together as a graphic novel about a barbarian that travels on time for our time, and he meets a guy that lives on the street. They make without knowing each other's language, they make friends. And although it's about a barbarian, the book is more about grieving and friendship. It's amazing. So it's been great. I don't ever want to leave create on books again. But it's like when you work on TV and movies too. You have to do something for the like a movie that will sell a lot, so you can do your independent movies, so you can do your plays. So you have to do once in a while. You have to do a big budget movie in order to get people to watch your independent movie. Same thing in comics. That's why recently I did a little run on The Flash for DC Comics. And now I'm back again to the poor side of comics.
The poor side. Now, I want to go back to, you had talked about, you had created this 8-page fight scene, and you talked about that this is one of your best that you've ever created.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, like in movies, there are these fight scenes are choreographed, and they walk through them before they actually film them. How do you come about creating a scene like that actually goes 8 pages?
Yeah, first I'm a karate guy, so I know a lot about fighting. But this time it was a mother with no experience on fighting, and it was inside the kitchen. So there is a lot of things happening. One of them, the guy gets blind because she tosses something on his eyes. So there is he's blind trying to find her inside the kitchen. She hides into a cabinet. It's great, and it's no words during these 80 pages, and it's written by Krista Faust, that she's actually a prose writer that started doing comics. It's one of her first book in comics. She had to adapt because it's not easy to do comics. If you write for prose, it's not the same thing. A lot of things, for example, some authors think that in one panel they describe a scene like it was a animated cartoon. It's not like that. It's just one moment frozen in time, and the other panel and another moment and that you don't have to write everything, describe everything, and there's a lot of tricks that you have to learn in order to write for comics. And she did great. We did 2 books together for AWA Suited, Bad Mother, and then Redemption. Redemption is a western in a future the Earth was destroyed in the future, and it's post-apocalyptic western. And it's like you know that movie Unforgivable from Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
it's like that. Just that instead of Clint Eastwood, it's a 60-year-old gay woman, and it's amazing, great. So yeah, I'm so happy.
No, you mentioned Sweet Tooth earlier. I watched the first season of that on Netflix. I didn't intend to. It just kind of grabbed me, and then you're one of those where you just sit there and then you watch the next episode, then you watch the next episode. That was very cool and very creative. In a case like that, was that like previously a comic series? Because I have no familiarity with it, and then it grew into a Netflix property.
Yeah, exactly. It was based on one of his comic books, and he's developing 4 or 5 others, and he's also writing them for the series. So a lot busy he is right now.
Yeah, that's very cool. When Netflix takes over and decides to make a series out of your comic book, they're spending serious money. You're getting into $1 million or more episode to produce those things, and the sky's the limit. It's pretty cool, and Sweet Tooth was a lot of fun.
All right.
So we got 2 more commercials, Beem. You want to knock them out, and then we'll talk to Mike Deodato a little bit more before we run out of time.
All right. Callers, listeners, you still have a chance to call in with a quick question. Comic book fans out there, come on. 516-453-9902.
Submariner. 30 years of hijinks and keeping the fleet afloat. Jerry Pate's semi-autobiographical collection of 60 stories recounts his 30 years in and around the U.S. Navy submarine fleet, ranging from lighthearted to wrenching. All are poignant inside looks at naval operations rarely seen by outsiders. Topics include the real story behind the shuttle Challenger tragedy, risking his own life underwater, discovering a Soviet spy living across the street, surviving when an engine ignites, critical missions, and the everyday lives of men and women of the fleet. Compiled by author Robert G. Williscroft and proudly published by Fresh Ink Group. Submariner is available worldwide in hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. Dive into Submariner for hijinks and breathtaking adventure with this poignant memoir by a true American hero.
Every person has a private life and a secret self. This is true of those we know and people we only know because they are famous. Discover fascinating, intimate, clever, witty, poignant, insightful tales from a diverse roster of notable women who dare reveal both the unknown and the previously undisclosed. But these are not gossipy tales. No, they are personal, anecdotal, always meaningful stories for quiet reading, sharing aloud, even performing from the stage. Compiled by Detroit playwright Jay Ajluni, Whoopi Likes Her Bacon Crispy, 65 fascinating excerpts from the memoirs of famous and infamous women is illustrated with whimsical portraits that capture these remarkable celebrities at their best. Choose your own from laminate hardcover, softback, and digital editions, all proudly published by Fresh Ink Group. Come away with a richer appreciation of these talented women and smile for permitting them to entertain you in unexpected and delightful ways.
Boy, that's a fun book. Just a whole lot of great quotes, and the artwork is fantastic. Just fun artwork. Yeah.
All right. We do have a caller on the line, so we'll go ahead and take that for a quick call and then get ready to wrap things up. We have a caller. Hello, Verwayne Greenhall. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Hey, Verwayne.
Not bad, sir.
Do you have a comment or a question for Mike Deodato?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I do. My son was an artist, and when he went into the military, he ended up designing the unit's coin that they had in the Air Force there. But if you were going to tell somebody to, if they really wanted to do what you're doing, and I know of quite a few people who consider themselves artists, what advice would you give them to get, maybe not to the level you're at, but to get moving along? What kind of training do they need? Or is it just a passion for the art?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I didn't, although I had the lucky of having my father at home to guide me, I never had the chance to go to a school because there was none at my time, and neither I had money. But nowadays, there is a lot of online classes of how to do comics. There is a lot of tutorials you can watch about it. Conventions are a great place to get in touch with artists, to get reviews, to get your portfolio reviewed by editors, by artists. If you have the chance to go to a school that is great school, the best I know is the Hubert Art School, but there is a lot of art schools online and presential. But my best teacher were the comic books themselves. Everything I learned by copying from comic books. Everything. And everything. All the styles are there. You choose the artist, the style you want, and you start copying. Even Will Eisner would give this advice: copy the most you want, you need. The originality come later, after you copy a lot. So it's a valid form of learning by copying your heroes, and that's it. When you feel you are ready, you can publish it and post them online and get feedback from your followers, and you can form an audience, slowly form an audience. When you feel ready, you can go and kickstart your own book. If you feel that you are in a level, then you can apply to big comic book companies. You go to their page and look for how to submit your work, and it's all at your hands nowadays. Back in my days, there was no internet, no anything. Nowadays, I have 2 conventions in my own very small city in northeast of Brazil. I have 2 conventions per year. I have 2 comic book school here. So they are everywhere. Nowadays, it's much easier. It's much easier to talk to your favorite authors. So that's it. But I really recommend, if you can, go to conventions. You're gonna find your tribe there, fellow artists that are starting the business. You can make a team. One guy writes, you draw, everything. So yeah, just do it. You wanna go into the comic book market, do your own comic. That's it.
Man, that was chock full of excellent advice, Verwayne?
I would say, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, thanks for calling in, Verwayne. We appreciate that.
Well, that was excellent advice. Keep developing your skills, study the masters, network, Wow.
Now, Mike, speaking of the conventions, the comic book conventions and whatnot, do you ever have interactions with your fans, and what sort of reactions do you get? And do you find that it's more kids, or is it a mixture of kids and adults, boys and girls? Because I know comic books are big with a lot of people.
Yeah, mostly has been always male, old male guys. But in recent years, it has started to change. I have been seeing a lot of girls and kids. So it's changing for good. And conventions are the best place for a comic book author to be, because our work is very lonely. We usually work at the attic or the basement, or we work alone. We work a lot, so we have no social skills, no friends. But at conventions, we go to get love. Nobody gets in a line to wait to talk to you for 2 hours to say, "Hey, I hate you." It's nothing.
Yeah.
We get all the love we want for. It's amazing. I was recently at the CCXP in Brazil, one of the biggest in the world, and it was so great to see a person that was waiting for so long, and then when it comes to her time, a big smile. It's impossible to fake a smile like that. Sometimes they cry. Sometimes you see when they ask for a picture, the hand is trembling. You feel the sweat of the hand. It's so amazing. You get out of a convention tired, but you get all the love you want. It's like a therapy for free. You get, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's so much love, and it's such a great interaction. And of course, you have the chance to meet your fellow artists and writers, and and talk bad things about the others. So it's I love conventions. If I could, I would go to everywhere, but you have to work this one.
Yeah. Now, Mike, you mentioned that in about a month or so, 2 big projects are going to be announced, and we want to know about them. So please get in touch with us as soon as those announcements are made. We'll put that information in our newsletter so all of our listeners can keep up with you. Also,
thank you.
How else can people keep up with you? How can they contact you, follow you? What are your social media handles? Do you have a website? Do you have a blog, mailing list?
Yeah, Mike Deodato. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, basically. I have also Tumblr, but basically these 3. You look for Mike Deodato, I'm there. I respond to everybody, just myself, and yeah.
Oh, so very accessible.
I'm available. Yeah, I'm available.
Yeah. So any announcements of new things that are coming out and stuff like that too, people can see those on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. You just post that regularly.
Yeah.
Okay. And people, like with all of our guests here on The Voice of Indy, sponsored by Fresh Ink Group, if you want to get a hold of one of our guests, send a message, ask a question, and you don't see a good way to do that, we've got a contact form at freshinkgroup.com. Just get over there and send a note. We'll make sure that it gets passed along to the right person. Mike Deodato, it's been a real honor and a treat talking to a veteran in the comic books industry, somebody who's worked with some of the biggest names and somebody who has really seen it all. And Mike, you had some really good advice for people who want to get into the business, want to learn more about it, especially for young people who are up and coming. And it's good that the old masters, not old like, almost 61, but the old masters like you are reaching out and helping young people discover how to get into it as well. So, again, thanks for being on the show, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah, and now, listeners, as we mentioned earlier, next week we'll have B.A. Johnson. She's going to be talking about her new illustrated chapter book for kids called Pandemonium in Puzzle Town. And then after that, Beam?
After that, we have Abigail Hugueny and Mary L. Smalls. They are going to be on together promoting their new book. And after that, we've got author Colleen M. Story, who we're not real familiar with, so we're looking forward to having her on the show and learning more about her and her work. And then after that, Beem is proud to say that there's a product out. There's a product out. Attached to the name Cheryl
Carpinello
and the word audiobook. That's right. We got Cheryl coming in, and we're going to talk about her audiobook, and we're going to have fun with that. So tune in for that one. And I've got a few others lined up as well. Got to just get the final dates set, but keep your eyes and ears on the newsletter. If you're not subscribed, get over there and subscribe.
Yep. All right. Thanks again, Mike Deodato. And
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Next time.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
You're listening to The Voice of Indy.
You've been a part of Voice of Indy, a production of Fresh Ink Group. Spread the word, support our guests, then find us at freshinkgroup.com and be sure to hashtag Fresh Ink Group.